Oh, that's a good question. Well, I was always kind of drawn to the darker things. I grew up listening to 70s rock, and that was my absolute passion, my first love. And it went from Zeppelin to Sabbath and progressively darker and darker. And by the time I was 12, 13, I was listening to Mayhem and other black metal bands, and it just kind of continued from there. Well, I've been promoting shows since I was a teenager, so I was always kind of involved in the music scene in one way or another. It was all really kind of a series of coincidences. I moved to Germany and I ended up going to a festival where I volunteered, and I was working as artist service. And there I met Gall, and through him, I started making a lot of other connections, doing merge for a few bands, doing more and more tour managing, and I just started working my way up to bigger and bigger tours, and here I am today. It's a pleasure. I mean, it's very difficult sometimes as well, but it's a privilege to be able to work with them and to be able to be a part of this, especially the 40th anniversary production, which we all worked really hard on. And it's amazing to be a part of this culmination of such a impressive career. Um, like any job, it has its ups and downs, but I wouldn't want to do anything else with my time. Oh man, the one that comes to mind is the mystery of Attila's lost suitcase when we were on tour in Eastern Europe last September. And we had loaded out in Turkey, but when we got to the next venue in Romania, Attila's suitcase wasn't there. I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked everywhere in the venue, in the trailer, in the bus, couldn't find it. And then I remembered in my panic that I had put an AirTag in the bag. So I look on my phone and I see it's on the side of the highway in Turkey. And we cannot figure out how this happened. So I asked the promoters from the Istanbul show, and I told them where it was. And within a few hours, they were there on the side of the road, picking everything up off the highway. So we had no idea how this bag could have gotten out of the trailer, how this happened. The only thing we can assume is that the bus was in traffic there. Somebody must have broken into the trailer, grabbed the first thing they saw, closed the trailer up again. And when they opened it up, it was just a bunch of sweaty stage clothes and human bones. And they were like, what the fuck? And ditched it on the side of the highway. So we luckily got everything back, but that was a really weird one. Well, my dad and I, we always shared a passion for music. So he thought it was pretty cool right off the bat. My mom, on the other hand, was maybe a little bit more skeptical, but she really enjoyed the Lords of Chaos movies. So that's her idea of how things work. Yeah, it took them a while to convince that this is a real job. But now they see what I do. They came to the show when we were in Calgary, and yeah, I think they respect it now. Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, music has always been a huge passion, but now is also more of a job, and so it's a blessing and a curse to work with your passion. I mean, I have so much energy for what I do every day. I'm so dedicated to it, but at the same time, you know, when I go home, I don't want to listen to black metal. Like it's for me, it's thinking about work, and that's not to say that I don't love it. It's just I have a very different way of seeing not just the music scene, but music itself. You know, because of course, like I think most people in our crew, we started as Mayhem fans as well. So I remember my impressions the first time or the first few times I saw Mayhem, and I remember just being totally in awe of Attila on the stage, and the first time that I met them being really nervous about Necro Butcher in the backstage. And I mean, I remember all these things too from a fan perspective, and so I really try to keep that in mind. I mean, at the end of the day, everything we're doing, it's a show for the fans. You know, we want to make sure that the band is here on stage giving a good show, but at the end of the day, it's the fans that make it happen. So it's really important to keep the fan perspective in mind and not lose touch with that when you're working behind the scenes. You know, it takes an immense amount of work from all sides to keep this going for 40 years. There's a lot of passion and a lot of dedication, and everything has to everything has to be the right place, the right time, but also a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.